showing your love and support.
Well, that's going to be the last time we play that intro.
Why is that?
Because I have to change it up and change the icon and all that.
Oh. We can still use the voice.
Yeah, we can still use the sound and all that. So, I mean, it won't take me that. I think maybe. I don't know. It won't take me that long. Anyway, so I do want to show you guys the new...
Hi, Alice. Hi, Carol.
Yeah, hi, guys. I wanted to show you the new icon I made for the channel.
Excited to see it.
Yeah. Ta-da!
Oh, I love it. I do love it.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. It's one of my favorite pictures of Brendan.
Yeah. I did some computer stuff. I added Dragonfly.
Yeah, I love
that.
Cleaned it
up a bit. Yeah. So
I seen one last night. First time I've seen one in years.
A Dragonfly?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I don't see them very often at all where I'm at.
Yeah. So. But yeah, this is going to be the new channel icon and for everything else we do. And then I'm actually going to make a t-shirt tonight with this on it. So
gotta have it.
Yep. So keep an eye out for that one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like some of the new merch you got out.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was gonna do. A simple T-shirt with that on the back of it, but then I stand Brendan Dassey on the front. So we're gonna.
But yeah, some of the new merch, like the book, the notebook, and that kind of stuff. I think, yeah. So
I
cool.
ordered that puzzle. I'm so excited to get that.
I know.
Puzzle.
I want a puzzle too. Oh, they're so cool.
Which one did you like? Did you like the black one, the complete black one, or the one with the different pictures on it?
The one with the different pictures.
Okay. I was gonna say,
that is so cool. How did you? I mean, what a good idea. I'd love playing cards if they had them.
I know, right? Somebody else was saying that to me at the rally, that if we could get playing cards, they would do that. So I don't know. I might look at the Zazzle store. I don't like Zazzle.
I don't either. I told you wouldn't.
Well, it's not the merchandise. It's because it's harder to work with, because every time I make something, they come back and say, you can't have this because it's copyright. And I'm like, how is Brendan copyrighted? I have permission from Brendan to do this. So I don't know what more, you know what I mean?
Probably through
probably through Netflix, yeah. That sucks, though.
Yeah.
That sucks for Brendan more than anything, because the money all goes to him, not me. Anyway. So, hey, Dozer. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Rhonda, Carol, Alice. I hope Alice feels good. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right into this. Yeah, Dozer. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into this. If you guys want to join in, you can.
Somebody can come in, because I'm a little on the low of the feeling pole today. I kind of got it. So.
Well, I just need someone to let me know if there's any questions in the chat, or just like, because when I start reading, I can't.
All right, I'll let you know. I'm gonna mute then till then.
Yeah, and if you guys want to join panel, there's the link. You guys are more than welcome to jump up here and just say in the chat, I'm backstage, so Linda can let me know, because like I said, I do check periodically the chat, but once they're reading, kind of. We left off on page. We left off on page 123. We got a lot of pages in from 86 to 123. So last time we talked, we basically went over the criteria that they need to make him an expert witness. We all agreed, plus the courts agreed. This guy really knows his stuff, so he is truly an expert witness. So the question that he asked before this, just to give a context of what they're talking about. Aside from the Reed manual, you've reviewed other police interrogation manuals, training manuals, and he says yes. And he asks, are the psychological interrogation techniques described in the Reed manual consistent with those you've seen in other manuals? And he says yes. And then the question is, do police typically receive training in psychological interrogation methods and techniques? Yes. More training when they promote to detective or perform the detective function? Yes. They get some training in the academy. They may get more training as they rise through the ranks. Correct. So he's basically saying that these detectives are trained in psychological interrogation methods to basically break you down psychologically to make you confess. I mean, there's nothing more. That's basically what it is. Now, in your writings, Dr. Leo, you refer to what you call the mind trick of psychological interrogation. Do you know what I'm referring to? And he says, yes. I think I've referred to that once or twice in my writings. What do you mean by mind trick of psychological interrogation? What I mean is interrogators have a hard task. They are tasked to getting somebody, turn the page, to confess to committing a crime, which is in a way we conceive of self-interest in this society, self-interest because it will lead to deprivation of your liberty, and many years possibly of incarceration, even possibly execution. So the trick, or the mind trick of interrogations, is psychologically a suspect to perceive that it's in their self-interest to make criminal statements or confess. And the question is, okay, there are various phrases or steps in psychological interrogation that lead the suspect to confess. And he says, okay, there are sorry. When we say stages and phrases, I mean it's a way of psychologically analyzing the process and how things change, but yes. And can you describe some of those stages? So he says, sure. Usually a suspect is isolated. Police are trained to bring them on our turf and separate them from friends and family. And usually, but not always, there's a repertoire building phase early to disarm the suspect and downplay the adversarial aspects of an interrogation, which is all things that we've seen them do to Brendan, right? He separated them from his classmates, from his teachers, from even his own mother before they interrogated him. Even in the first time when he was interrogated in the back of that police car, he separated him from his brother Brian. So that's what the step one is. They take you completely out of your element, completely away from people that you would consider safe or whatever. And then they would downplay the interrogation that you're going through, which is what they did to Brendan as well. Right. Yes, exactly what they did to Brendan.
Exactly. The Reed technique was at its worst or finest, whatever way you want to look at it.
Yeah. At some point in a custodial interrogation, there will be the Miranda issue will come up, and the police have different ways of giving warnings and maximizing the likelihood of eliciting waivers. But the real heart of interrogation, which is really phase 2, and then he says, before we get there, can we talk about repertoire building phase? Sure. So before we get to phase 2, you mentioned isolating the suspect. Why are police officers trained to isolating a suspect? And then he answers, they are trained to isolate a suspect because their ultimate goal is to get a confession, and it's believed that you can exert maximal influence on isolated suspects. If you separate a suspect from friends or family or any support network, you break down or weaken the ability of the suspect to deny. And that's what the police interrogators are trained to do. And then secondly, isolating a suspect is not just about separating them from support network or familiar environment, but also getting them on the police turf. So the police have carefully orchestrated interrogation rooms that are designed to allow a suspect to focus on something other than the interrogation, to not distract the suspect. Just a table, sometimes clock in there, a window, nothing fixed on the wall. Okay.
You're guitaring and you're cutting out, honey. You're guitaring.
Can you hear me?
I don't know if you can hear me. You're cutting out and guitaring, sweetheart. Oh well, we got a little issues with the internet. That's what happens. Okay. Back up. Back a boo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were really cutting out. You were completely gone there, but you were robotic for a little bit. And I was trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Are you there? Yeah, you're robotic really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, you talk again.
Can you hear me?
Now, that time I did.
Am I better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
What was the last thing you guys heard?
I don't know. I was kind of trying to probably about 2 lines up.
Okay. Now you talked about the repertoire building phrase, and then after the repertoire building phrase, there's a dramatic shift as the interrogation proceeds, correct? And he says, correct. What happens after this repertoire building phase? After the repertoire building phase, usually police launch into, in one form or another, accusatory interrogation. And that's when the full arsenal of techniques, or whichever techniques the interrogators choose to use, are used, and its interrogation process proper to what I was referring to in my early answer when I said the heart of interrogation is really 2 phases. So then the question is, the start of the interrogation process, the heart of the interrogation, as you describe it, how does it generally begin? How do police officers begin the accusation part of the interrogation? Usually by confronting the suspect, while accusing the suspect of committing the crime, and then challenging their denial and confronting them with real or alleged or made-up evidence. Okay, what are some of the other tactics that you commonly see in the heart of police interrogations? In the first phase, which we call the accuse, well, the first of the 2 phases, we usually classify this by the goal the phase seeks to accomplish psychologically, which is convincing a suspect that it's futile to deny. Usually you see repeated accusations of committing the crime, repeated accusations of lying when denying committing the crime. Usually you see monologuing as by an interrogator. Sometimes you see interpersonal pressure where the interrogator gets closer, like touching the leg. Sometimes, not always, raising their voice, but applies some kind of pressure on the suspect to stop lying, start admitting. All those things we've seen happen with Brendan during his interrogation. The monologuing, the interpersonal pressure. Yep.
Every single bit.
Stop lying. We know you're lying. Almost always in this phase, you see confrontation with evidence. As I allude to a moment ago, that interrogator is trying to convince the suspect that the evidence irrefutably establishes the suspect's guilt, and therefore it's pointless to deny, and no one's going to believe his or her denials. I can't remember directly in this instance, did they have any physical evidence that they were going to show Brendan that we know you did it, or is it just words that we know you did it?
Only words.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify because, like, I can't remember directly if they were like, we have your DNA, we have your fingerprints, because I don't think they did.
No, they just said, we know what happened. We know what happened. We need you to tell us. Yep. but we know
Yeah.
that's because he's a kid. They didn't have to do that, but they are
Right.
allowed to do that.
Right. I think they did that to Stephen. I think they did that to Stephen. Like, we have your blood, we have your
how come your DNA is in your house? Yeah.
Right.
Said that
yeah.
Right.
So I remember that with Stephen. I just couldn't
Yep.
remember if I did that with Brendan.
Nope.
So, but that is something that they do. And I see that a lot during interrogations in general. They'll tell you, they could tell you whatever they want to tell you.
I asked, I have a newfound friend. He's got a YouTube channel, and he, in fact, TTM Fangirl goes there a lot. She knows who he is. But anyway, he's really good. And he said during a interrogation, they will lie to you, but they can't straight out lie to you. Say, we have your DNA. They say, what are you going to do if we find your DNA there? How come your DNA? Is there any reason for your DNA to be there? You know, they can't straight out say, we have it. That they can roundabout lie, trickery.
See, and I've heard police officers basically lie and say, we have your DNA.
Yeah, but it's the way they terminate it. Or terminalize it. You know? So, yeah. He straight up says cops lie to you all the time. They're going to lie to you.
Yeah.
They can.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they do their job.
They're allowed.
But they cannot straight out say, we have your gun, because what if it was a knife? You know, that's what he says. He says, what if there is no DNA found there and they never go to court with it? You cannot say that to them. You can say it in a questionable, accusatory way without, you know what I mean? There's manipulation there. Definitely. But okay.
I guess. Like I said, I've been told they can, but I don't know. I've been told my whole life, like, don't, whatever they say to you, don't believe in interrogation room. Because I know they do that all the time too, where they're like, well, we've got your friend in the other room and he's telling us everything.
Yeah, they can do that.
He's implicating you.
They can do that. But they can't.
And your friend may not even be in the other room.
Right, exactly. But they cannot, when it comes to evidence, they are very careful how they say it, because, like I said, he could say, well, how come there was a gun? First of all, you're saying the person was shot, okay, and they might not have been. You know what I mean? Right. And what if it was a gun or a knife instead of a gun? He said, when it comes to that, you can't. But you can say, hey, your friends are ratting on you, you know? Right. Or right. What would be the reason your DNA would be there? Now say it's not saying the DNA is there, but it's saying what would be the reason if it was there, right? So there's a manipulation of the way they say it. Yeah, it's totally disgusting.
It's disgusting. Don't believe a thing the police say. Yes, exactly, Alice.
The police. No, the police. Police. The police. I can never say it, but see, oh my God, I just hurt my own head.
Uh-oh. All right.
Okay, go
ahead. Those techniques are really the heart of the first phase or stage of interrogation proper. Okay, these steps that we discussed, accusations, interpreting denials, confronting with true or false evidence, the point of these tactics is to do what? And the answer is to convict a suspect that you were caught, that there's no way out. The jig is up. No one's going to believe your denials. You've got to admit to this crime. Okay, what's the next phase? The next phase, second phase, is about motivating a suspect to see it as in their self-interest to confess using what we call inducements or indecisives or motivators to persuade a suspect why he or she should confess or will be better off if they confess. What type of inducements or motivators do you typically see? We describe colleague Richard Offshee and I and others. These are inducements as reigning along with continuum, perhaps using a little bit of academic language, but we've talked about how low end of the continuum often be moral or religious appeals. That was a lot of words. Okay. we've talked about the mid-range of the continuum in terms of systematic, and we call systematic inducements that focus the suspect on the system and the processing of their case in the system. And we've talked about inducements being at the high end, which convey some explicit benefits or implied suggestions or promises of leniency, sometimes maybe even threatened harsher sentences. These high-end inducements can be implicated or explicit. So the answer, continue to answer your question, these inducements go a long range from weak to strong, but these inducements sometimes are delivered through scenarios as well, which police are trained to use to convey benefit or to minimize culpability or to suggest harm will occur or some bad outcome will occur if the suspect fails to confess. I just want to point out, in Wisconsin, there is no death penalty. Like, they took that off the books a while back ago. But I have no doubt in my mind that if the death penalty was instated in Wisconsin, they probably would have threatened Brendan with it. Like,
well, let me just give you some little FYI and a little trivial here, some information. They were trying to get the death penalty in when this case was going on, but they would have been grandfathered out of it because the law would have passed afterwards. But yes, they would have. They definitely
I'm just saying, if the state could have,
death row.
If the state could have pulled it off, we're passing it even after they were convicted. If the state could have done it, they would have done it.
They would have did.
You know what I'm saying?
They could have got the death penalty in before the court date. They might have held the court date back. In fact,
exactly.
They really wanted to.
So you say it would have been grandfathered. I mean, technically they would have been, but if they could have pulled it off, they would have.
Oh yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
So. But yeah, I feel like hands down, if there was a death penalty in Wisconsin during this interrogation, they probably would have threatened Brendan with the death penalty. A 16-year-old kid. I really feel that way. So, I mean, because I've seen them do it in states like Arizona. They've threatened people with the death penalty of cases. So
they do it in every state that has the death penalty. That's
how they makes me sick.
Yep.
It makes me sick. That I hate that's why I can't deal with plea deals. I think plea deals are awful, and I think that if you're going to charge somebody with 10 years, then charge them with 10 years.
Yeah, plea deals are only good for guilty people. That's it.
They're only good for the state. A lot of
innocent people do the plea deal because, one, they don't have the funds to fight it. Two, they're led to believe that their sentence will be lowered when sometimes it is much greater than if they went to court. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're led to believe a whole bunch of things, and it's just a process to keep the courts from being backlogged. That's all it is. And money.
Yeah. I know, for instance, in the Charlie Erickson and Ryan Ferguson case, that's part of the reason why Charlie Ferguson took his plea deal, was because in the state of Missouri, they do have a death penalty, and they basically threatened
Ryan
him
was on death row
with it,
wasn't he?
Yeah. No, he wasn't.
Oh,
he was life in prison. He wasn't on death row.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't on death row.
Thank you for correcting me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he wasn't on death row. But they did threaten Charlie with that, and I mean, that's literally why Charlie chose the plea deal. It's like, what do I do?
He should be getting out soon, right?
I think on his page, his mom posted January of next year.
That'd be fantastic.
He should be paroled. Yeah. That's the one good thing I could say. I mean, okay, so I don't agree with plea deals because you have to basically admit to the crime that you committed. But because Charlie did that, unfortunately, Ryan went to prison.
It saved him from death.
It saved him from death, and Ryan went to prison for life. But then Ryan got Kathleen Zellner, and Charlie recanted his confession and admitted to full he did it, even though he still didn't do it. He's still innocent, but he did that for Ryan, and Ryan was able to get out.
Right.
But
He's gonna be
because he
able to
took
get
that
out.
plea deal, he only took like what 20 years. So
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
His sentence, I think it was 20 years or something like that. So he's going to be coming out soon.
Yeah.
So
And,
I mean, silver lining, but the problem is that he's going to be coming out as a convicted felon, which isn't fair. But he can still fight that
when he's out.
He can still fight. Yeah, when he's
I
out.
bet he just walks. So I would just walk away from it all and be a felon. It didn't matter. It wouldn't matter.
I
would
really,
not.
I
I
don't
would not
know.
trust the courts ever again if I was him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
I don't
courts
know.
were terrible, horrible to him.
There's, it's hard because he's got a murder conviction under him, and how can you get a life or a job?
Yeah,
it's hard.
that's true.
I don't know.
Very true.
And he's still going to be on parole. It's not like because it's parole.
Yeah, they should. And I think in the UK, I wish Alice was up here, but I think when you do your time, you're done. You don't have that over your head anymore. You're completely done, and you move on. You paid your debt to society. And actually, I don't know who came up with the parole boards in the United States, because in one way they're beneficial, in another they just work for the prosecutors. And you know what I mean?
My understanding is that, okay, so here's the scenario. It's that Charlie got 20 years in prison, right? Technically, he's leaving after 18 years in prison, so which means he's being paroled out early, and he has to spend 2 years on parole. Now, if he stayed in prison for the full 20, in my understanding, he could just walk out and that's it. Unless you're a registered sex offender, then that's different. Then you have to register and you have to do all that stuff, which I mean I don't disagree with, but yeah, that's the thing with parole is that you're leaving early than your sentence for good behavior or whatever.
It still screws you. The justice system.
I mean, yeah. I don't agree with parole in a lot of ways, because I think it's just another way that they can get money out of you, because you have to pay fines.
Or they let out criminals that should not be let out early. They commit crimes during their parole, and sometimes they're aggravated a grade up. They're leveled up because they've learned something new, or their desire to kill or rape or whatever it might be is stronger. So it's a catch-22 on everything in the justice system.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I think that parole is just another way for them to get money out of you.
More money. You got it. So, it is. Just like plea deals. A way to a way to save the courts.
To save the buck.
Yep.
Let's continue.
Becca, I'll be right back. My mom just walked in. I gotta help her with some groceries. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it. Okay, so bad outcome if occur if a suspect fails to confess. So you didn't need to commit this crime. It was an accident. Correct. Which scenario? You didn't kill this person intentionally. You didn't premeditate. It was impulsive. Correct. I mean, these scenarios are usually developed more fully than your question implies. But yes, the scenarios are contrast as well. Excuse me. So, accident, you kill her accidentally versus premeditated. Will be two scenarios. One suggesting lesser culpability, the other suggesting more culpability. And the way these scenarios works contextually is, which I really forgot to mention in this response to your prior question, was that there's usually time pressure in the interrogation, and the suggestion as if you don't admit to the good scenario, the one that minimalizes your culpability, since the evidence is overwhelmingly established that you did this, and we're beyond talking about that, then everyone is going to think and part, particularly if it's made explicit, the police, prosecutor, the judge, the jury, that you're really guilty of the bad scenario, the premeditated killing in your example, and the suggestion may be made that that's what will ultimately happen. You'll be convicted of first degree as opposed to negligent killing, let's say, if you don't confess. Is one of the scenarios that police infrequently use a scenario where they try to get a suspect to minimize his blame and to place, greater blame on the co-defendant. Yes. How do you see that in interrogations? Well, you see that all the time, and the manuals, of course, talk about blaming anybody you possibly can. The idea being that if you communicate that somebody else is at fault, or more, excuse me, I keep yawning, or more at fault, the suspect is going to think that your own culpability is minimalized or sometimes even eliminated. In many interrogations, that's the message that's being communicated. So it creates an incentive for the suspect to confess, especially if there's now or never time pressure. This is your only opportunity. After this occurs, I can't help you. You're not going to be able to present this later to the judge or the jury. That's exactly what they were doing to Brendan with Stephen's involvement. If we know what happened, you need to confess so we can help you. We know Stephen did this. We know Stephen pressured you. We know this and that and blah, blah, blah. If you tell us what happened, we can help you. We can help you. We can, protect you from Stephen. We can, they literally were going with that narrative that Stephen bad, he made you do this, didn't he? They basically wanted to make Stephen the monster to him, and gave him an opportunity to say, yes, Stephen made me do it. Which we all know nothing really happened. So prosecutors look like they have high prosecution rates too. That's right, because that all prosecution cares about, and this might be very offensive to say, but this is how I truly believe. All they truly care about is getting getting that person in jail, and that's it. Solve the crime, close the book, we're done, move on to the next one. If they can close more cases, that makes the department look good, that makes the city look good, that makes the state look good, that makes everybody look good, right? If they can solve more crimes. It's not about, in my opinion, it's not about finding the right person. It's about closing this case so we can move on. And if they can plea out, then that saves time, that saves money, that saves everything. Because the person just admits they did it, here's your sentence, you're in prison. That's it. It makes everybody look good except for the person whose life got screwed over. And the victim. The victim and the victim's family. Because if you throw people in prison for crimes that they didn't commit, and they're the victims, they don't get real justice.
Because the true perpetrator is still there.
Yeah, the true perpetrator is still out there doing their crimes, or they got away with it, or whatever, and then you've got them moving to another city or state.
In cases like this, they can only get progressively worse, turn into a serial killer, or
right. Yeah, we don't know like this. Whoever.
How many people go out and do something to this degree and never do it again?
Right. Yeah.
The percentages will tell you that that's very highly unlikely.
Right. Yeah. See, and I don't agree that. I know there was a theory that Edward Edwards did this.
Yeah, that was not. He was not.
I don't think that Edward Edwards did this. But that being said, you don't know who could have killed Teresa. Was some young up and coming
could have
serial
been walking
killer.
through every state doing it. Right?
Yeah, and just happened to come across and did what they did and moved on to
Crime
another
of
place.
opportunity.
Yeah, so you really don't know. The person obviously is still out there. You know,
you're right. It always does look better on paper, including your budget. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, Christine Rudy's
get more
husband.
police.
Jazz, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You get more funding, state funding if you have a better that gets crime solved and keeps these bad guys off the street and blah blah blah. Yep.
Cases are solved.
Yeah, they don't. I don't know. That might be. I'm not saying all prosecutors or all police or all departments or all whatever, but it's a lot.
Well, listen. Okay, in August of this year, there were 8 exonerated people in one day in Chicago.
Yeah,
and there's still more to be done because there was a crooked cop or DA or what was he a cop? He was a cop, and he fabricated things. He lied, and there were people that it was a mass exoneration, and there's still more people. I can't even remember the number. I just did it this morning. So, it's everywhere. There's people that spent time in there and they're just finding out about it. Okay, how about the guy that spent 46 years of his life there?
Yeah,
terrible.
It's really sad. Yeah, lives get ruined, and it doesn't just ruin one person's life either. It ruins the whole family. It ruins the whole community.
It certainly does.
Generational trauma, and it ruins the families of these police officers and corrupt individuals who do this. Like, it's not just one person. It's the whole entire area. It's awful.
In the whole, everybody is affected.
Yeah. Let's see. The sort of thing that minimalizes your culpability or eliminating your culpability by blaming anybody, including especially co-defendants, may communicate either leniency or immunity if the suspect stops denying and starts admitting during the interrogation. Is one of the common scenarios you see in a situation where it's suggested to the suspect that somebody else made him do the criminal acts. Yes. So not only that somebody else who is responsible, a co-defendant, or entirely liable, but the co-defendant unfairly or improperly pressured or induced the suspect to do what they are doing. And yeah. So you've talked about inducements, you've talked about repertoire building phase. What's the final phase of the interrogation process? I mean, I realize there's a lot of phases we're talking about. So if we're going to talk about a final phase, that would be making additional. Did I skip a phase? No. Sorry. No. If the final phase would be what we would really call the post-admission phase. So I was just going to clarify that by distinguishing between pre-admission interrogation and post-admission interrogation. Post-admission interrogation occurs after the suspect has essentially said the words, "I did it." So the two phases that I mentioned before really are pre-admission phases. Convincing a suspect that they're caught and it's futile to deny, and inducing them to see it as in their self-interest. I call that heart of the interrogation, which I think but it's really pre-admission. It's what police do to get the suspect to stop denying and say, "I did it." The final phase might be called the post-admission phase, where interrogators ideally elicit the details about how and why the suspect committed the crime. Because the confession is not just the admission, "I did it." The confession is a narrative about how and why the suspect did the crime. Okay, and what is the significance of this post-admission narrative phase? Well, there are several things that are significant about it. First, it's significant to law enforcement because if they hold back information, they do it right, they can get the suspect to either verify his or her inside or non-public knowledge about the crime and objectively demonstrate if the suspect did commit the crime or is confessing truthfully that they know details that could not have been guessed by chance, that were not publicly revealed, that almost certainly only the true perpetrator would know, absent any contamination, so if they do it right. So that's one aspect of its significance. It's a way of making confessions bulletproof, and police are trained on holding back principles and how to elicit good, corroborated, non-contaminated, proper confessions to establish they're reliable. Which I'm going to
Stop.
say, yeah, I was
Stop.
going to say.
They did
Yeah.
every single solitary thing this man said that was to make it a good confession wrong. They
Right?
told him about evidence that nobody knew who shot her in the head. Okay.
Right.
They everything, every single thing they did it wrong.
Right. They gave him, well, and you could argue from the very first time they pulled him in to interrogate him in that cop car to the school again and we don't know what happened in Fox Hills. We still don't know what happened in Fox
Nope.
Hills because
We'll
that
never
was
know.
never recorded. Yeah, we'll never know what happened in Fox Hills. The only
And
people
we'll
that
never know because Brendan don't talk about it.
right, yeah,
And
that's the only
nobody else was there
person,
to talk about it.
right? Yeah, that's the only people who know what happened in Fox Hills, and nothing could have happened at Fox Hills. But I have a hard time believing that. And then up to
I
this
think they
interview,
seen the movie that night. I think
they
that's when
probably
they
did.
talked about it. I think that's when they knew that they would get him to confess for
Right,
sure.
I think, yeah, absolutely.
But I truly believe in the back of the cop cars when they knew he would switch over.
Oh yeah, because he did it then.
Yep.
He put up a fight in the beginning. If you guys ever want to listen to it, I believe we have it on this channel, and there might
Yeah, we
be
do.
on Foul Play, and so. But if you ever want to listen to it, guys, it's what is it?
It's the click one.
November something interrogation,
It
and
is.
he's in the back of the cop car, and I think I even have the transcript in Discord. But if you guys ever read through it, you can tell Brendan is a feisty teenager at first. You know what I mean? He's like, I didn't do it.
With this,
I
but
didn't know.
yes.
He kind of sounded annoyed. He kind of sounded, but then you instantly saw something, and I think it was because the cop raised
yelled
his
at
voice
him.
to him. Yep.
Yeah.
He yelled at
at
him.
And instantly his guard went, oh, that's
right,
an adult.
and he instantly dropped it, and he was just like, oh shit.
Yep.
And I think that's when the seriousness of this is an adult and they're yelling at me, and I have to do what they say.
Absolutely, Becca.
And I think the cop picked up on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because next thing you know, he quietly asks, because they set up the scenario to him. She's sick. She needs meds. What happened to her? Is she sick?
She needs her medication. Yeah.
She needs medical help. Brendan, do you know anything about it? Do you know this? Do you know that? Blah blah blah. And they slowly set it up, and then towards the very end, he very quietly asks, "Do you think he did it? Did he really rape her?"
Yep. Brendan was even questioned at that point. That's when they knew.
That's when they knew. Okay, we got this kid. We can do it. And then that's why they kept going back to him. Yeah, that's why they kept going back to him. So
heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. It's sick. It's absolutely sickening.
It is.
Yeah, Dassey? Correct. Checking convictions. They knew in that car that they could bend Brendan. You have 5 brothers, right, Brendan? Yes. Yeah. They were asking him questions that how many brothers do you have? You have 5, right? Yeah. No, you have 4. You have 4, Brendan. But he didn't. But that's how easily influenced he was.
Yeah, exactly. He even agreed. Right.
Right. You probably could have asked him, because that was towards the end there, you know. Is the sky yellow or purple? Yeah. Sure, both. I don't know.
He just wanted to get out of the back of the car.
Yeah,
he didn't want to be yelled at by this strange man anymore. He was intimidated. And then he even questioned his uncle. You know, he had this in his mind, like,
oh yeah, they were like, did he? That's why he asked him. That's why he asked out loud, quietly to himself. Did he?
Yeah, and
did he really rape her?
Yeah, and how about the part of Teresa? He's such a caring child. He was afraid that Teresa needed medication.
Yeah, he literally thought
that
he needed help.
Very much
this woman
him.
Needs help.
Yep.
So I have a question, because I'm bad with times and dates and stuff like that. So Carrie asked, did it all start with Kayla, right? So Kayla's interview started what day?
You're asking the wrong person for dates. I have no idea. You know, I know the event, and you're right. It did start with Kayla. If Kayla would have never opened her mouth, Brendan would not be where he is.
What day did she go and talk to counselor?
Okay, I think it was in it was November 10th, I want to say, but I'm not positive. I wish Jinxie was right here.
I was going to say, so that happened first, and then they went to Brendan in the back of the cop car? Or did the back of the cop car happen first, and then Kayla, and then they pulled him out of school? Remember
right. That? Yes, that's how it happened. That is how it happened. It happened afterwards.
Okay.
And they
I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. Or they didn't pull him out of school, but they interrogated him
in school. Right.
Yeah.
Away from his class, away from his teacher.
From his teacher. Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't happen with the cop car. That's, I think, when the cops decided, well, we need to check out more kids. Well, then Kayla voluntarily went there and told him that. And then they pulled Brendan out.
I'm going to go real quick.
Here,
I'll be right back.
I'm going to tell Jinxie to get in here and answer.
Yeah, you guys ask some questions for a minute.
We need you to answer a question. Can you come and chat, please?
Yeah, you guys, if you want to ask questions and Linda can answer them or get somebody to answer. I'm going to be right back.
Oh, you're leaving me by myself now. Oh, boy, here we go. Because when I watched them in court, they seemed like they were treated the same. Oh, do you thought so? Well, I don't, because for one, Kayla went up there, said, I cry. She cried, and she said she lied. They let her walk away. Brendan stood up there and handled himself very well and said he did not do it. He lied. He made it up. He don't know. And they called him sir and everything else. No, I don't believe that. Yeah, allegedly went on her own. Exactly. Teachers who had the duty of care. You're right, Jazz. The teachers did have a duty. Let's put it this way. If my children would have been pulled out of class and they did not call me and tell me that the police were there to talk to my child, there would be no school. I would be suing. My children would not be going to that school. There'd be something done. Kayla, though, I spelled it wrong. Her name. No, Kayla's story was completely different than Brendan's. Yeah. You know what, Carol, I think the same thing, because Kayla was very shook up. She looked very nervous. I think if Brendan would have did that, yeah, he might have pulled at some heartstrings. But, the prosecutor, Fallon, was making Brendan look as though he was a man. They called Kayla Miss. They called Brendan Sir. Well, where did you ever read that, sir? So, yeah. That's okay, Maggie. Hey, we can, if you belong to the Discord, you could come in and find out. I didn't know much either. I knew nothing, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Forget it. I still can't remember dates. But reading the transcripts, trial transcripts, you'll really get a different feel from the documentary because you do see every word they said, how they said it. Right, you don't get the emotion by looking at them, but there's no scriptedness of it. It's straight fact, and it hits hard. It really, really does. And he was a little boy with a learning disability, and they took advantage of his disability, which is language, which too many words in one time makes his mind go blue. He just cuts it off, forgets it. Doesn't pay much attention to it because he didn't understand it, didn't hear it. Yeah. So it is really, really, they took advantage of him. They knew he was vulnerable. I'm sure they knew his record in school because it would say that on there. I always refer back to when he sits in class, he would have to have a tutor explain what was going on in class for him to understand. So yeah, I think they took that to their advantage, and of course performed the read technique precisely to the letter on him, and that works. It'll make a grown man admit he is guilty. So a 16-year-old vulnerable child alone without any supervision or loved one there, with a learning disability, of course, what are you going to get? You're going to get exactly what they wanted and the wrong thing for Brendan. Becca, how can you be writing in there and be doing something? They did have his counsel records. I thought they did. I really do think, I did think they did. Becca, how can you be freaking typing and then she's probably got her phone. I'm trying to figure out how she's doing this. She is a rock star, Katie. I think it all started when Kayla went to the counselor school. That's right. That's where it happened. Carrie. Carrie, yes. She went to the counselor and talked to the investigators. Becca, where are you? What are you doing? I don't like to be up here by myself and get all bathroom break. Oh gosh. It's medication time. I hope you're doing good, Dozer. You're always in my prayers. Everybody is. I say a prayer for all Brendan supporters. You're wonderful people. Oh, dee-dum. I'm not reading because she already read this part. Oh, there's the Discord link. Maggie, make sure you click on it and get in there. It's not no big deal. There you go.
When a girl's got to go, a girl's got to go.
Hey, no problem. Thank you, Carrie. Are you one of them liberated women that says, I'm a woman and I like to poop?
I mean,
that commercial kills me. Sorry, pooping. I mean, that's way off topic and it's probably not, it's a little too much, but I'm sorry.
I mean, I get freaked out if I don't poop. So, yeah. All right. So what did she say? I think it started when Kayla went to the counselor and the counselor had something to do with her talking to the investigator. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out if they
was after the car one.
Was it after the car though? See, that's what I wanted to say.
It most definitely was.
Right. The car interrogation. I don't think they specifically targeted Brendan during that car interrogation. I think they were questioning both of them and they had them both separated.
Right.
And Brendan, they could see, okay, this kid is very easily manipulated. We can easily, whatever.
They tried to manipulate Brian and he wouldn't have nothing to do with it.
And he'd have nothing to do with it. Brian was like, what, 18, 19 though at the time? Yeah. He was the oldest. So, and But
He
it
was
wasn't
like, nah,
until, but
you
then
guys.
Kayla's whole situation happened, which, you know, there's a lot of discussion lately on Twitter about that, like what's Candy's role in all this stuff. You know, I think there's more to it than just Kayla went to the counselor, but you know, that's neither here nor there. We'll say though that
I
that's
blame
when,
her. Sorry. I'm going to say it publicly. Kayla should have kept her damn mouth shut. She shouldn't have lied. And if she wouldn't have lied, she would have never put her cousin in that predicament. Straight.
right. What I'm trying to say is that I don't know enough of the situations that are coming out now about the whole
Oh, I don't know
Candy.
about that either. I only know what
Yeah, so
happened.
I don't
I
want to
know what
speak on
happened.
that one yet, but I will say that is that yeah, that's her mother, Candy.
Yeah, she's a witch.
But
I
you
don't
know,
care. I've
just
been in this game long enough to say how I feel.
right, I don't care, Linda, you
I've
know
seen
that.
it long enough. I've been in part of it for almost 6 years now. So let me just say this. Kayla should have kept her mouth shut. She is the one that brought Brendan into it. And they would have never went to Brendan if she wouldn't have been saying that. So
Or at least not as soon as they did, because
no,
what I think
she
that
would.
they
I
were
do not
waiting
believe they would have
for,
went for Brendan at all. I do
you
not
don't?
believe that. I believe that if she would have never said anything, they would have had to try to do what they did with Stephen, and Brendan would have never been brought into it.
Maybe.
I'm telling you.
No, I know. No, I know. What I'm trying to say is that I
Well,
think
we do have to
Kayla
play
gave
devil's
them,
advocate.
yeah,
We don't know.
Kayla did bring a they opened the door for it. You know what I mean?
Wide open, handled. As far as I'm concerned, she put her cousin on a platter and said, here's the carving tools.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is that
But
it
we
may
don't know
not
the
have been as
mindset of the
sooner.
Ellie,
It may not
right?
have been, there may have been a different circumstance that would have brought them back to Brendan. We don't know,
Right. We
unfortunately.
don't
We
know.
don't, yeah.
We don't.
All we
We don't.
know is that if it wasn't for Kayla going to the counselor, it wouldn't have been as
Right.
soon as it was.
Well, yeah, because we don't know
Yeah.
the mind.
And that's
The
the other thing.
mindset.
We also need to remember that she was also a child at the time, and she was probably under the influence of a lot of other things that, like I said, I don't want to speak on it too soon because I'm still learning myself, but I believe that there are other influences that were influencing her
I
to,
definitely believe that too.
so
Now I knew. I didn't know then. You know.
right, exactly.
And
Yeah, we're
before I
starting to
was like that
see,
poor kid. You know. When I
right.
watched the documentary, I was like, "Oh, poor Kayla." I mean, you know, I did.
Yeah.
I felt bad for her too.
I mean, I still do. Because no matter
I
what the
feel bad for
circumstances were,
everybody
she
involved.
was just a kid. She was just a kid. You know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever happened, they both were kids. Then it never
Mm-hmm.
should have came down on children. It never should have been put. Children never should have been put in this situation to begin with.
Exactly. We do not know that if Kayla wouldn't have said anything that Ellie did not already have in their mind to go after Brendan. We don't know their mindset. But I will say, like Becca, it opened the door wide open and gave
It just
Brendan
gave them, yeah, it gave them that door to walk through and say, "Hey,
to make
Brendan,
sure the conviction stuck.
we heard that you saw blah blah blah."
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that, then yeah. But then I feel like they would have targeted him. They wanted anybody and any reason to go after Brendan or anybody. They
Right.
wanted anybody they could find to put Steven in jail. And I say this is why I don't think that it was so. This is unpopular opinion time.
Not for
I
adult problems. Right on.
I personally don't think that anybody in the family committed this crime.
Oh,
Now,
I'm
the
with you.
reason,
100%.
yeah, the reason why I feel that way is because it doesn't, if it, like, let's just say for argument's sake, it was Bobby. I don't think it was Bobby, but let's say it was Bobby. If it truly was Bobby, they would have let Bobby go down with Steven. It didn't
Oh, yeah, they
matter.
would have. Yep.
If it was Bobby and there was enough evidence with Bobby, they still would have made it look like Bobby and Steven. It
Yep.
had nothing to do with the person that was accomplishment with Steven. They just wanted Steven.
Yep. Exactly.
If it would have been Bobby, Brian, Blaine, Kayla, even if it would have been any one of his brothers, even Barb, anybody, they would have
And the mother.
anybody.
I mean, even mom. They took
Even
her
mom.
quilt and other things. Yeah.
Yeah. If they could have, they were looking for anybody that could implicate Stephen with them, and unfortunately, they found Brendan, and they were able to manipulate Brendan into doing that. Now, if it was truly Bobby, they would have let Bobby go down with Stephen.
Oh yeah, Bobby
it
would have
wouldn't
been
matter.
right
They don't
there.
care.
They
They
didn't
just
care
want
who it
Stephen.
was. If
Yeah.
the dog could have talked, they would have took the dog.
Right. That's why when people are like, "Oh, well, they're protecting," that's one narrative I've heard. Oh, they're protecting Bobby to send Stephen. No, they would have sent Bobby with Stephen.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that Kathleen Zellner is only pointing out a different scenario to show doubt. Okay? It's just to show that somebody else could have done this. Okay? It's not 100% only Stephen and Brendan did this. Where in other convictions, if you don't have a different way out, then it shows more stronger to the conviction. She is there's other Denny's. She only talks about Bobby because she has more that might show that. Okay, not proof that he did it. Okay, just proof that there's doubt he could have.
Yeah.
Along with Ryan.
Okay. Right. Well, that's why I'm a Ryan did it person.
I am a Ryan person too. But also, I will stick with my first intent. My first thought was somebody was a crime of opportunity, and the cops
random person they came that across just came through, and yeah.
Yep. Somebody else did this that nobody knows and has not been implicated yet. And the cops seen it as, because it was so close to the Averys, because of who that person was, she was last seen there. They thought, oh, we're going to get Avery now. Fuck this 36 million shit. We'll put a stop to this now, and all of our jobs are fine.
Right.
Exactly what I think.
Yeah. Let me see here. Let me finish this guy's thought here on this, and then we'll probably we'll close this. Actually, we're gonna come back to this thought. We'll come back to it because it's a pretty long explanation. It's a couple of pages long, actually.
We had a good discussion too, so.
Right. And this stuff is really cool to learn. I feel like it's important to learn. I hope everybody's learning something on step-by-step interrogations and how they work. That's basically the reason why I wanted to go over this guy's stuff.
It really did point out the read technique to the T.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm more excited to learn more about this, and we'll come back to this page 134. Yes. So we went over a lot, and I also want to say that today's Sunday. See, my days are all messed up because I had to work last night, and I'm working tonight too. So
that's very true, Maggie. It was one speaker for the Hallbach family, and that was Mike, right?
What? Yeah, Mike Hallbach was the family speaker, which was weird, right? And the way he did it, he just was smiling and.
Yeah, well, I really do encourage you, Maggie, to go and you can. I think I don't recall. I can tell you too. If you don't belong to the Discord and you don't feel like joining, a lot of people don't. But I mean, we'd love to have you. But read the scripts. You really will. It will be valuable to you because until I got a chance to actually read some of these things, I thought I knew, and then definitely, I didn't know.
You really learn a lot by everything. Once you really dive into the transcripts and all the stuff, you really start to see the picture. This is foul play site fileplay.site.
Oh,
They
she
have a
said she
lot of
definitely will join. That'd be great, Maggie. We'd love to
yeah.
have you.
Oh,
Tuesdays
that's
and
the other thing.
Thursdays are discussion days on the phone there, so you can come in if you got time and pop in and ask live questions to us on the telephone. Otherwise, you can, there's a room in there for all of Brendan's court cases, for everything up to date. There's tweets, there's all the videos. There's a lot of going on in there. Becca does a really good job.
Yeah, I basically try to run it the same as the Facebook group. So but there's just a little bit more information and a little bit more different kind of interaction, I should say, because like I said, we can go on the phone and we talk every Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, and sometimes we just shoot the breeze, and other times we actually talk about case stuff. So you're more than welcome to. I wanted to say February.
Yeah, you're correct,
Carol. I wanted to say February, but yeah.
February, the end of February. Ooh, so there's a long time in between there. I'm going to have to get my facts straight because I could have been putting out some misinformation today. And if I did,
it was February,
I
but
will definitely
sure.
come back and correct myself because I'm one for a hater of the misinformation. Thank you, Carol, very much. Hi, Dark Side. Mwah.
Yeah, but I posted the website for the fileplay.site, which has it also has the updated case stuff for both Stephen and Brendan.
Yeah.
On our Discord, it's mostly
website.
just Brendan stuff. So, but, and then, I think I also sent you, Maggie, the link to the YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
Join them. They're a very informational group. They have everything up to date. They have a lot of open mics. They got a lot of discussion going on there.
Yeah, because on Brendan Talks we mostly focus on Brendan stuff, but on Foul Play they focus on the whole thing,
on the whole case. Not so much Brendan, but a lot of Stephen, and they got information that let me tell you, if it wasn't for some of them researchers and FOIAs, we wouldn't know half the things we do. So it's very appreciated, and they are the most knowledgeable holder of the information.
And you are allowed to, not saying you're not here, but you are allowed to hold any kind of theory that you over there.
Oh, you can have a theory here. You just can't bash a family member.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Like it's
and they don't allow that there either, though. Let's be clear. They don't allow any bashing or anything like that. It's open, respectfully debating, I guess you would say. All opinions are welcome, but done in a respectful way.
There you go.
Yep. Come on.
But yeah.
We don't knock down drag out there.
Oh yeah. So is anything coming up for you, Linda?
Yeah, this week is kind of busy for me. Wednesday I have the team think tank with the real crime team, and Thursday is a very special day for me. I get to interview Ripper.
Yay! I saw that and I was aghast.
Believe me, I love Ripper. He's always been like my favorite YouTuber throughout the years, and I finally get to interview him a one-on-one.
Yeah, I'm excited for that because you've been waiting for that for years.
Yep. Oh, thank you, Darkside. I'm really looking forward to it too. I really am. And he wants to discuss the indigenous women, and that'll be part of our discussion. Because, of course, I've transferred a little bit over to the missing people. And
Carol, maybe Tuesday, you and me and whoever else Tuesday morning, we can sit down and make a timeline of when certain things happened in Brendan's timeline as far as the interrogations, because I would like to know. I feel like it was the police car first, then... But I could be wrong because I felt like they interviewed Kayla, or they talked to Kayla first, or she took it to the counselor and then they went to Brendan. But I could be wrong.
I miss you too, Carrie. I miss everybody. I'm really trying to get a schedule going. I mean, I've been making this and I'm gonna make this every Sunday. Friday got a little bit too late for me when Becca finally got done. Otherwise, I've been here Friday. But
that was
But
that was
that was an
a different
emergency. There
time.
wasn't much you could
Yeah,
do, and I couldn't
yeah,
break my plans at that point. So,
right, which is fine.
so that's understandable. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm making a trend. I'm trying to get my time management right, and it's coming together. It's coming together. But I really am, I got to keep busy. I'm one of them minds that have to keep going.
yeah.
But thank you,
So
Becca. It was a good discussion. Thank you, everybody,
yeah,
for being here. I love seeing all of you.
yeah. And then so tomorrow morning I will be reading from the book False Confession.
Michael Caccini.
Yeah, I'll be
I
reading.
definitely be listening.
So, and that's just going to be me reading, and then we're going to be having a discussion after I'm done reading a couple of chapters, and then that'll be it. So I wouldn't expect it to be more than an hour and a half long.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, I heard the book on audio over in Foul Play. I absolutely loved it. I would definitely want to hear it again.
Yeah. So I think
Excellent,
it's
excellent
interesting,
writer.
and it's another way of breaking down
The
interrogations
justice
and
system.
and
Yeah,
all that stuff. So, and we already learned something new about that law that was passed about recording interrogations for minors. So,
yep.
police
That's
car
the
in
Nelson.
November, then Kayla, then Brendan at school, and Two Rivers PD on February 27th, then Fox Hills. And okay, so I was right. It was the police car in November, then Kayla,
Yep.
then
I
Brendan
was
at
right too then.
school, and
Yep.
Two Rivers PD on February 27th, then Fox Hills, and then March 1st. So yeah, we were right.
Yep. Well, the good
Yes.
because I felt bad. I was like, wait a minute now.
Oh yeah, it
Is
was
it that bad
Maggie. It
for
was
me after this many years that I can't remember that? But no, I'm glad.
yeah,
Thank you very
Maggie. It
much.
was months. It was months from November to March was
Exactly,
basically
Maggie. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's a very long time, and it didn't. That doesn't register in my head because I keep on thinking about it as in the documentary and not looking at the dates.
right.
I'm not good at them.
People have a misconception thinking, oh, it was just that March 1st. No,
Yeah,
it was over a span of months that they
yeah,
were manipulating the family even and
and they still do.
friend and confusing them and planting shit and yeah.
Yeah, it took a long time, but not a
Yeah.
long time because these guys are doing a
I
long
mean,
time.
in retrospect of a long time, but I mean,
It
it was a
was
while.
quick, but they made sure that it. Yeah. Well, we're still
Yeah.
fighting. Let's just put it that way. We'll never give up.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I
Becca, I
also
really got to get
want
off
to,
of here.
yeah. Yeah. You go ahead and get off, and then I have
Okay,
one more
bye,
note.
everybody. Nice to see you, Becca. Of course, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
So, okay. Before I get off, tomorrow I'm going to be reading from the book, and then Brendan did okay. Moving Be Brendan Brave to Wednesday. So Wednesday morning, when we do the Wednesday morning catch up, I'll tell you guys the theme on that and we are keeping Free for All Friday as well. So we'll do that. And Maggie started, if you're on TikTok and you would like to join in, Maggie started a TikTok train, they call it, where here, where if you have a TikTok account and you want to join in, you can, hold on, let me bring it up. You can basically reply and then you add your own video to it and then it keeps it going. It's just another way of showing support on TikTok, which I think is great. I already did my video on my personal account and I'm probably gonna do another one on the Brendan's innocent Brendan Dassey account. So if you guys are on TikTok, make sure here on to find the link to it. How many people have duetted it so far, Maggie? I think we've got 5 or 6, right? That's a pretty good amount, in my opinion. It's going pretty strong. Let me see if I can get to it. Also, the girl at the bottom right is in. Yeah, I remember you mentioned that. Yeah. Oh. I need to remember to check the Brendan. I need to remember to check the Brendan one more often. I can't find it right now. I'll have to post. It's in the group. It's in the group. No worries. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this. But yeah, it's in the group if you guys want to check out the link for it. And then I'll post the link in Discord too. But yeah. But yeah, everybody have a safe weekend and Memorial Day, and do something fun, and do something fun, and then write Brendan a letter about it and let him know what you guys did. He enjoys hearing about that kind of stuff. Make sure you post your pictures also in Free for All Friday, so we can send them to Brendan so he can see, you know, all the fun you guys are doing and what you guys are doing, on if you're doing anything interesting. And yeah, so everybody be safe, be kind, and let's continue the fight for Brendan.
Better all the times we roll around the city where they call me town hero. No, the whip is automatic and it's black as Don Cheeto. Yeah, we can start from ground zero. I don't know if it's me talking or the Crown and Casamigo. All I know, we never talk on how we feel cause our egos. But if you down to grab the clip, then I'll reload. Yeah, I got the slicker in my cup. I might be tripping, but this feel kind of abrupt. Now I only see you